Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone doing today? Happy Tuesday. Hope everything is going well. We're doing lesson 923, part 2 today. So hopefully yesterday went okay. Today you will need a paper. You will need a calculator. So hopefully everyone has access to a calculator. That will be helpful for certain things. I also need to show you how to do a few things on the calculator. So if you can, try to get access to a calculator. It can just be a scientific calculator. That'd be fine. Okay. Your homework is 89, 96, and 98. You can also choose to use a worksheet, which you're going to get, which will be on the link as well if you want to use that. Okay. Your choice what you want to do in that situation. All right. Let's begin with today's problem. We're going to backtrack here to lesson 922 from the homework problems because it's kind of essential for today's lesson. It says, if you have 24 square tiles, how many different rectangles can you make? Each rectangle must use all of the tiles and have no holes or gaps. Sketch each rectangle on graph paper and label its length and width. Can you make a square with 24 tiles? So what I'd like you to do is you don't need to do it on graph paper, but I do want you to try to draw these out and see how many you can come up with. So if you can, please pause the video right now. Try to come up with as many as you can. And then when you're done, unpause it and we'll compare and see if we got it right. Cool? All right. Did you pause? Did you try it? Just draw it and label the dimensions, okay? If you haven't already. All right, here we go. You could have a 24 by 1. Could you have that one? How about a 12 by 2? 2. Do you have that one? Let's go with that. Oh, okay. And you know this is not accurate in the drawing, but go with me here. 8 by 3. You could also have a 6 by 4. Don't you love my rectangles? Aren't they beautiful? Okay, did you do better? What else could we have? 7, 6. Now, a 24 by 1 and a 1 by 24 are, for this sake, we're going to say it's the same thing, okay? Any more? Can you make a square with an area of 24? Not with whole numbers. So we're going to stop right there. I mean, a 5 by 5 would be 25. I don't know. It'd be decimals, wouldn't it? So that's about all we can do. All right. Now, let's try this one. Now, see why I needed to go back to it. In problem 974, you tried to make a perfect square with 24 tiles and could not. Why was it not possible? It's not possible because a square... Am I giving it away? Okay, it's not possible because a square, both sides have to be the same, and we're multiplying both sides to get the area. So what number times itself gives me 24? It wasn't possible with tiles. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's not with tiles. Estimate the length of a side of a square with an area of 24 square units. What two whole numbers is the length between? Well, now here's the thing. We know that 5 times 5 is 25, which is a little too big. But we know that 4 times 4, so 5 times 5, 5 times 5 is 25, which is too big. But then a 4 by 4 would be 16, which is too small. So I know the side lengths are going to be between 4 and 5. Are they going to be closer to 4 or closer to 5? Well, they should be closer to 5, right? Because it's almost the same thing. So letter C is square root of 24 closer to one whole number than the other. If you did not do so already, estimate to the nearest tenth. So I don't know, it's pretty close. So I'm going to guess 4.9 to the nearest tenth. Okay. So now here's where you need a calculator. Is that what you guessed? 4.9, 4.8, hopefully something close to that. Here we go. Ready? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to check our answer. So can I type that in? 4.9 times 4.9. Ooh, 24 points. That's pretty good. I don't know if we can do it. What if I had done 4.8 times 4 and 8 tenths? I should be saying 4 and 8 tenths, shouldn't I? I get 23. That's a little too low. So I was pretty good there. 4 and 9 tenths times 4 and 9 tenths gives me 24 and 100. That's about as close as I'm going to get. So that's pretty good. Cool. Is that what you estimated? Okay, we're going to work now on a process here. So problem 984, which is the last problem here, okay? But this one's going to take a little bit of time, so please pay close attention. I do need you to have a calculator. I need you to have a piece of paper. I need you to have a pencil. We're going to do some writing, but we're also going to be working through a process here, okay? Between which two whole numbers is each of the following square roots? And you've got these four problems right here, okay? Will you please write them down? Square root of 40, square root of 95, square root of 154, and square root of 200. Between what two whole numbers is each of this following square roots? Okay? Did you write them down? I hope so. Okay, you got them all four written down, okay? Or I'm going to read you the questions, and we're going to come back and do the process. To which whole number do you think it is closer? Okay? Estimate the value of the square root. Now, here's where it says you may find it helpful to create a list of the whole numbers from 1 to 17 and their squares to use with this kind of poster net or this problem. You guys, you remember that poster in the back of my classroom right in the middle, where I said, hey, look at this person and point up, and that poster? Boy, don't you wish you had that poster right now? Okay, so what we're going to do is on your paper, I also want you to write this. Now, this will be helpful not only for now, but for future. So please write this down. Okay, 1 squared is 1. 2 squared, 4. 3 squared, 9. Please go ahead and keep going as high as you can. Yikes. 9 squared. Now, at some point, you will want to memorize at least a 12 squared, and we talked about this yesterday, okay? I know really to probably 15 squared. After that, I don't really know them much. You don't need to memorize them up after that, but you should really know up to at least 13, 14, 15 squared, okay? Well, let's see how many of you remember these. Now, you are going to want to write this down, so please have these. 16, 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared 49, 8 squared 64, 9 squared is 81, 10 squared is 100, 11 squared is 121. That's where a lot of you start, you just don't remember a lot of those, okay? We never really focused on those too much. 12 squared is 144. 13 and 14 squared. 13 squared is 169, which is pretty straightforward. And then 14 squared is 196. So you just remember those, and you just flip-flop the numbers. Okay, 15 squared is 225, and then I don't remember 16 squared. So let's check 16 squared. I'm going to get my calculator. And you're like, I already have it, Mr. Ramirez. Great for you. Good job. 256, okay? 256. And then 17 squared is 289. Cool. Have those written down, please. I know, it's a lot of writing to do, but please write them down. It's going to help you. In fact, it's going to help you right now. Okay, so here's what I want you to address. I want you to go back to this one, and we're going to look at number 1, square root of 40. Now, square root of 40, we go back to this right here. Between what two whole numbers is the square root of 40? Well, 40 is going to be right here. Okay, it's going to be between 6 and 7. Now, guys, before our wonderful calculators, I've got a graphing calculator. Before our wonderful calculators with square root buttons, this is the way people had to find square roots. They either had to memorize square roots, which is crazy, or they had to do kind of a guess and check process. So they said, hey, the square root of 40, it's between 6 and 7. So let's find out. Well, how many numbers away from 6? Is it closer to 6 or 7? How many numbers away from 6 is, here, it's only 4 numbers away. 4 numbers. 4 numbers. And here it's 9 numbers. So it's closer to 6. By a decent amount. So it's less than half. So 6.3, 6.4 maybe. 6.3, 6.4 is probably my estimate there. So about let's go with 6.3. Let's go to the nearest 10th. That's my guess. You kind of do your own guess. 6.3, 6.4. And then we're actually going to check it on the calculator. So what I am doing is I do 6 and 3/10 times 6 and 3/10, just like that. See it? And then I hit enter, and I got 39.69. That's not bad. But then I'd have to go and say, oh, how about 6 and 4/10 times 6 and 4/10? When I do 6 and 4/10 and 6 and 4/10, I get, there we go, 40 and 96 hundredths. Now, which one's closer? The top one is closer. 39 and 69 hundredths is closer. So it'd be 6 and 3/10. But then I'd have to find out which one. Is it closer to 6 and 3/10 or 6 and 4/10? Well, it's closer to 6 and 3/10. So I don't know. I'd then go 6.36 times 6 and 36 hundredths. If I can type it in right. And then I'd try that, and I'd be like, okay, that's 40 and 44 hundredths. Okay, that's kind of high. So let's try lower. Let's go with 3 and and I should have known because we said it was closer to 6 and 3/10. So 6 and 34 hundredths times 6 and 34 hundredths. And you'd basically just keep going until you got closer. I still am too high. So 6 and 33 hundredths. And here I do have a squared button, so I'm trying a square button there. And you see it's still too high, but not too bad. So 6 and 32 hundredths squared. And they'd keep going like that. Oh, that one's too low. So now it's going to be 6 and 32 something higher. You know, it's kind of a long process, but that's the way they kind of worked on it, okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to try this next one. Square root of 95. Give me the nearest tenth and then try it out, okay? So let's see. Did you do it? Pause it, try it out, and then unpause it when you got it. Okay, ready? Square root of 90. What was it? 95. Go here. Oh, it's between 81 and 100. 95. Oh, it's definitely closer to 100 than it is here. It's like 14 numbers away here, but it's only 5 numbers away here. So it's definitely going to be closer to 10. So I'm going to go with like a 9 and 8/10. 9 and 8/10. What did you go with? Don't cheat and do it on the calculator, cheaters. Not yet. Okay, ready? Let's check. So I got 3 and 8/10, or 9 and 8/10, and I got 96 and 4/10. That's kind of high. Let's see if I had picked 9 and 7/10. 9 and 7/10. Oh. 94 and 900. Which one is actually closer? The closer one to the answer is actually 9 and 7/10. So if you said 9 and 7/10, you are correct. You actually got closer than I did. So good job. So 9 and 7/10 is the closest. All right. Now try 154. And try to guesstimate without actually checking on the calculator, okay? So try not to. Got it? All right, let's see. 154. I go here, 154. Let's see. 154. Okay, it's right here. Between these two numbers here. So 154, ooh, it's kind of in the middle. It's 10 away here. Oh, and 15 away here. So it's closer to 12. So it's going to be less than 12.5, 12 and 5/10, because it's closer to it. So I'm going to go with 12 and 3/10. And guys, I'm not cheating here. I'm doing this as you're doing it. Okay. All right. 12 and 3/10 got me 151 and 29 hundredths. That's not bad. It's a little bit low. So let's try 12 and 4/10. If I had done 12 and 4/10, I would, definitely better. 153 and 76 hundredths. That's about as close as I'm going to get. Because if I go 12 and a half squared, that's 156. So that's too high. So 12 and 4/10 was the correct answer. And if you guessed 12 and 4/10, you are correct. 12 and 4/10. And last but not least, how about the square root of 200? Square root of 200. Again, we go back to the chart here. Square root of 200. Oh, right here. Look at that. Let's pick a different color here. Between 196 and 225, 200. Oh, 200 is much closer to 196, so it's going to be really close to 14. It's not going to be close to 415. So I'm going to say like 14 and, right there, 4 here, and it's 25 here. So I'm going to guess 14 and 1/10. I'm going to go with 14 and 1/10. It's 14 and 1/10 or 14 and 2/10. So I'm going to guess 14 and 1/10. 14 and 1 squares tenths gives me 198 and 81 hundredths. Let's see what 14 and 2/10 would have given me. 201.64. Which one's closer? 14 and 1/10 is actually a little bit closer. So if you guessed 14 and 1/10, 14 and 1/10, You are correct. Okay, so guys, that's kind of the process. Now, again, we have the square root button. If we wanted to, then we would go here, and if I want to find the exact answer, which is kind of fun to do. And now, depending on the calculator you have, hopefully all of them have square root buttons. Sometimes you have a situation where it'll go like this. You put the square root button, and it'll give you a square root in the parentheses. See that right there? And then you have to put the number after it. Other times, you actually type the number and then hit square root. So explore with your calculator a little bit, maybe with something like square root of 196, which you know is 14, or the square root of 100, which you know is 10, and play with the square root button and see which one is correct there, okay, and how you can do. But you're going to practice. You're going to use a calculator, need a calculator. It'll help you out a lot in what you're doing here, okay? That's the focus of today. That's all we're doing for now. Square roots, hopefully you feel comfortable with them. We've done some work with them. Do the homework. Try it tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes, okay? So have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys are doing great. Bye.